Yonex introduces their 5th generation of the Power Cushion Eclipsions. Come check it out.
We've been playtesting a lot of speedy fast shoes, so the Yonex Eclipsion 5 was a fun one for me because I prefer something a little bit more stable, and right away I could tell this was going to be an awesome stable option. I did have a bit of a break-in with this shoe. I would say about 2 to 3 hours before it really molded to my feet. I was getting a little bit of numbness underfoot, but once that was done, that subsided and I could go on and enjoy what this shoe had to offer. Yonex always does a really great job with the cushioning, but I would say the cushioning is a bit firmer in this shoe rather than plush and soft. But there were days that I wore this shoe for more than 6 hours, and at the end of the day, didn't have any foot pain or anything like that, so I appreciated that. And then to speak about wearing it a bunch, the durability of this shoe was amazing. I'm actually quite shocked how durable it is. I'm testing another shoe that's already wearing down after a couple weeks, and this one I'm not seeing any smoothing at all, so I know this is gonna last me a long time. As far as fit, I felt that as I wore this shoe more and more, the upper did loosen up a little bit. There is that second eyelet that I definitely would use to really hold in my heel and ankle. But all in all, it was good support. Again, the support loosened up a little bit as the playtest went on, but I could just tie up those shoes really tight and they fit really nice. All in all, this isn't gonna be the lightest shoe on the market, but it definitely shines when it comes to stability and durability.
The last time I play tested an Eclipsion was a couple generations ago with the 2nd generation. And I know Yonex is known for making a little bit more narrow width shoes. And for me, I'm always excited because that is my foot type. So when I slipped these Eclipsion 5 on, I was nicely rewarded with a good snug medium fit. I thought it was nice and narrow in the heel and the midfoot, and then just enough room for me in the toe box. Not too much for me to move around, but enough to feel nice and secure and comfortable. When it came to cushioning, I found that there was nice cushioning around the ankle and the tongue, and under my heel, I would have liked a little bit more cushioning in the forefoot. I felt like it was just a little bit too firm and minimal for me. And on the positive of that though, I did feel like I was very connected to the court, and the traction was a little bit on the stickier side. So when I was planting, I was definitely feeling that court and having to work a little bit extra to push off. Like Michelle, I also had a slight break-in about 2 to 3 hours before I really felt comfortable in these shoes, especially just the upper molding around, as well as the transition from heel to toe. At the beginning, it felt a little bit slappy, like it was a little bit stiff, and as the playtest wore on, it got a little bit more smooth. The highlights of the shoe for me is definitely the stability and the durability. I have previous ankle issues and no stability issues whatsoever. And the durability, I got 10+ hours and I'm seeing pretty much no wear on my outsoles. Now, when it came to support, I definitely used that last eyelet pretty much about 30 minutes into the first hit. I noticed that my foot was kind of sliding around just a little bit inside the shoe. And as that playtest wore on and the shoe opened up just slightly, I was moving a little bit more and more, so I wasn't able to get a full locked in fit. Overall, this Eclipsion 5 is great for aggressive movers that like to spend a long day on the court. That wraps up our playtest here in California. I'm gonna toss it over to our playtesters in Georgia. Jofi, what did you think of this Eclipsion 5?
Thanks, Britt. This was actually my first time testing a Yonex tennis shoe, and I was very pleasantly surprised. When I first put the shoes on, I right away noticed how comfortable they were. They felt very nice and plush under here and in the midfoot area as well. The cushioning was really just amazing. I really appreciated just how bouncy the shoe felt, and I really enjoyed that kind of rebound sensation under my feet. I didn't actually think I needed any break-in time. I was good to go right away. I did actually end up going up half a size, so that's something I wanted to mention to be aware of. I thought support was great, but just to maximize it, I ended up utilizing that second eyelet, which actually held my heel nicely locked in. So 0 complaints about support. I really felt confident moving around the court. I did not see any wear on the shoe, so durability was absolutely top-notch. The only complaint I unfortunately had is the outsole traction. It was definitely a bit too sticky for me. Even as the playtest went on and I put 10+ hours on the shoe, the stickiness unfortunately did not really go away from me. And sometimes I actually almost felt like I was going to trip or get stuck a little bit. So it just meant that I had to be really aware of where I'm putting my feet and make sure that I lift my feet up as much as possible instead of just turning out of a certain shot, just making those small adjustment steps. Having said all that, I think the new Yonex Eclipsion 5 is an amazing shoe, and if you don't mind a sticky outsole, this will be a perfect option for you.
I was very excited to try this Yonex Eclipsion 5 and find out what they were all about, and I gotta say overall these shoes were great. I first want to talk about a little bit of the fit of the shoe. I've been wearing size 9 of my latest shoe testings, and I gotta say these Yonex shoes were a little too short compared to other shoes that I try on lately. I wish I would have gone a half size bigger so I can get that extra space on my toe box and make sure that my toes were not cramped up and create any discomfort. But besides that, the shoes fit great to my feet. I felt great stability while I still felt supported on my ankle. Moving into the traction, I did feel like the shoes were a little too sticky. I struggled to move quite a bit. I felt like I was getting stuck on the court and I was a bit afraid when I was changing directions too quickly. But after playing in them, I was able to break them in and the shoe was less sticky while still keeping durability on the sole. I barely saw any wear after playing in them for hours and coaching. Besides the down I experienced of the fit of the shoe and the stickiness, I thought the shoes were great. I was well supported and they felt quite light. And they were also very breathable, even though the upper shows mostly plastic material covering the shoe, especially through this hot Georgia weather that we're having right now. Like mentioned before, I did need some breaking time to make the shoe a little bit more comfortable. I would definitely not mark the shoe as a comfortable soft shoe, but it's kind of like a trade-off for being a little more durable and having that extra support. Overall, I think this is a great high-performance shoe for a player that moves quick and fast and has more of a narrow fit. Thanks for watching, guys. For more information on this shoe or any others, please go to our website, Tennis Warehouse, Tennis Warehouse Europe, and Tennis Only.